Welcome to B2B Life with Jeff Brummer. This is your chance to listen in on conversations with successful entrepreneurs and business owners on their journey to success. Every story is different, but after consulting thousands of businesses over the last 20 years managing their business payments, Jeff has seen what works and what doesn't. From inspiration to tactics to a good laugh, helping leaders build more fulfilling businesses and lives is what B2B Life is all about.
Welcome to the B2B Life podcast. My name is Jeff Brummer, and I have helped over 2,600 business owners and C-level clients in the last 20 years maximize professional services and cash flow management and professional and personal goals. In doing so, I bring experts in the B2B services world to help my clients leverage what I consider the best in the industry in their service. I'm here today with Bryan Lawley at Even Green Technology. He's been in the solar industry for 14 years. They're the industry leader in solar and all things energy efficiency. I've worked and done business with Bryan over those 14 years, and Bryan and I have worked on some mutual clients and had some happy customers between us on the products and services that he offers. So in welcoming Bryan, thanks for hopping on today.
You bet. Appreciate you having me, Jeff.
Yeah, so look forward to this. This will be kind of fun. We've been friends and business associates for quite a while. So I think I'm going to delve in a little deeper today on some other things. Hopefully we can get some good conversation. I'm sure we will. So just to kick off, how can people know about you, like personally, before we get into like business talk? Personally, what's your family look like? What do you like to do? Kind of what's your background?
I grew up Southern Idaho, Twin Falls area, technically Filer. Got to represent my Wildcats. Went to school at Idaho State, as you know, because we played golf together there on the golf team, which was a good experience for a few years. Currently living in Boise. I've lived in Boise for over 20 years. Married, 3 children, 18, 11 and 10, soon to be 12 and 13 on the younger ones now, coming up here soon in a few months. So wonderful wife that's put up with me for God knows what reason for coming up on 17 years. So right. super fortunate in that regard in my life for sure. Yeah, awesome. Okay. Yeah, we've our boys play basketball too, so that's been fun bumping shoulders there. Yeah, it's a small world, I think, in Southern Idaho in general. Regardless of Boise, Twin Falls, there's a lot of crossover there with family and friends for sure. Yeah, excellent. Well, good. So solar, I know I've got your panels on my house that I'm in actually right now, and had them on a previous house and been super satisfied, return on investment and all the warm and fuzzies about going green. But it's been a great product. So what kind of got you into where you were in your current profession? Tell us a little bit about what you do and what makes you guys tick. Sure. As you know, going through business school with you at Idaho State, marketing and finance was my degree. And, I sold pest control door to door for a long time. So that's kind of my sales background, I would say, and was really successful at that at a young age, which kind of spoiled me at the time. And so coming out of college, going into what was popular back then as pharmaceutical reps and medical sales reps, and I did several interviews with those types of companies out of college and got job offers. But at the time I was working 3 to 4 months out of the year selling pest control and making way more money than they were offering me to work full-time annually. So kind of got trapped into that for a little bit. And one of my mentors, the boss of the company that I originally started working for in the pest control industry, sold his company to Service Master, which is Service Master International, which is Terminix, and encouraged me to start my own. So I did. I ran a residential-based pest control company in Houston and Austin, Texas, for 3 years. Before offloading and selling that to Service Master as well. About a year prior to that, I had everybody at that time, this goes back into 2008, markets were down, housing industry was not great. But you heard a lot of people talking about this big new green boom that's going to hit the United States and the world per se with this green movement. So I was intrigued by that because, lacing your shoes up to go bang on doors all day for pest control, knowing that you're, dousing their house with chemicals in some fashion is not really something that I was really excited about. Yeah. So got really kind of intrigued by this industry and just started learning, so probably spent a year while I was going through the transition of selling my business in Texas, kind of working on a somewhat of a business model for what we are today. And, lots of early struggles in the first couple of years, because when we started EGT Solar, there was 54 installs in the entire state of Idaho, which
oh wow,
is pretty interesting to think about, right? There was no market. Friends and family were like, "You're crazy. This is never going to work." But I'm stubborn and kind of operate with a chip on my shoulder, and kind of knew it was a much more of a when market than it was an if market. And that's kind of was my comment still back then that really sticks out in my mind is, if we can make it through the first couple of years and allow the market to arrive here in Southern Idaho, if we're the predominant company there, we're kind of top of totem pole. And fortunately, that's really how it's worked out for us is, we're able to work with city jurisdictions on writing code and making sure it was done at a high level, making sure that companies, door knocking companies and kind of, fly by night companies from other states that we're trying to catch the upswing of the market here. We're doing it correctly from a code perspective. Got to know and build a really good relationship with the solar side of Idaho Power, our single utility here in Idaho. Got to meet fire marshals and inspectors and building officials and things like that at an early time where we were all kind of learning the industry together, and which really gave us a leg up too, and making sure that the standards that we were writing at the time made it, a good thing for the consumer too, to make sure that it was done, according to code, like it was or had been done at that point for a long time in many other active solar markets in other states.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So do you, in thinking of my clients in the business to business world, what's a sample 30-second success story of who would be a good client for you in the business world, even more so in the residential, like who, a typical win for a business client or a building owner, I should say. What's a good story there?
I mean, obviously the driver of going solar for commercial is tax credits, depreciation benefit on capital equipment as it's termed, which falls under a 5-year window, which essentially pays for, we'll call it roughly 50% of the cost of the project is covered through that tax equity or tax benefit side. So that's really the driver. People, that can invest into their own building that they own and operate and increase the value or the net operating income of that business or that building. This makes a ton of sense, because then from that point on, once you flip the switch, you're paying for, let's call it 30, 40 plus years of solar power production up front in one shot. The amortized cost per kilowatt hour versus what you're going to pay your utility right now today is about 50% less starting today. Well, as power rates inflate, as we all know they're going to very quick here in Idaho with the population booming, that's just a quicker payback for those commercial solar clients, because they're avoiding a higher cost because their costs are fixed from buying it up front in one shot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. That sounds like a good ROI. Now, are you finding more success with business owners or more building owners, or I'm sure some of those are the one and the same? Like, who do you find more success with, or is it just kind of all over?
It really varies, to be honest. I mean, we've got some big notable corporations in this valley that are very active right now in their sustainability path and sustainability, beliefs within their organizations. That's driving a lot of that. Overhead. People, if they can run leaner, they create more profit. If they can create more profit, they're worth more money. Hence why, us Spark card users like that service, because it's tax free.
Yeah.
That's a big advantage. And so, when you look at it from an investment perspective, it kind of checks all the boxes. In the commercial space, if you can create a higher net operating income, then your building's worth more money. Residentially, there's a lot more gray area there with appraisals and value that solar is going to add to it. But commercially, you really can't argue it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you have any targeted industries that you play well with, like that you found success in? Any types of businesses?
We do a lot of, I'd say our one of our strongest markets would be rural commercial applications, whether that's agricultural, industrial, farming.
Yeah.
Because of some of the grants and the USDA REAP grant programs that are out there specific to rural areas, those are very, very attractive to those business owners from a payback standpoint, because of the additional grant money above and beyond the tax credit and the depreciation benefit, as I mentioned before. So that would be a kind of focused area for us. But we've done everything out there: car dealerships and, flower shops and chiropractor offices, dental offices. It really varies across the board. It's, it's really, if you're paying a power bill, then you're a potential client.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, yeah, this is a good overview. And the second part of our interview, we're going to delve into a little more of that. But as far as we appreciate that you could, our clients or clients in general could potentially pay for their solar on the Spark credit card. Appreciate that partnership. Where can people find you, Bryan? What's the best way to get a hold of you and your team?
Well, we're located over here at 401 North Main Street in beautiful Meridian, Idaho, right after the Y where they split Meridian Road in Maine. So we have a full showroom here that anybody is welcome to stop by anytime. Website, of course, www.egtsolar.com. Pretty easy to remember. Okay. And then office phone over here is 208-795-5170. But pretty easy to find. Been in the valley long enough where most people avoid stopping in here to hear me talk. So.
Okay, well, no, appreciate it. It's been good. We'll put your contact info in the notes once we close this out so people can get a hold of you. And appreciate your time, Bryan.
Likewise. Thanks, Jeff.